People often ask, what special secret do awakened people know? What is it they see that I don't? And the question itself is the best joke of all. The great secret is that they don't see anything extra. They simply stop overlooking what's already here. Spiritual awakening isn't gaining a new, hidden vision, it's losing the conceptual filter that keeps you from seeing reality as it is. The menu versus the meal, stopping the commentary. Most of us live in our heads, not in the world. When we look at a tree, we don't actually see the intricate dance of light, shadow, and bark. We see the word tree, the concept, maple, lumber, oxygen, I know what that is. We've substituted the map for the territory, the menu for the meal. We mistake our thoughts about reality for reality itself. The awakened person sees the tree directly. They see the suchness of it, the raw, uncommented experience. This isn't seeing more, it's seeing what's actually there when you remove the extra layer of verbal static and judgment that the ego constantly superimposes. It's the difference between looking at a photograph of the ocean and being knocked over by a real wave. The illusion of the separate self. The deepest part of this trance is the belief in the skin-encapsulated ego, the feeling of being a small, separate me locked inside a body, fundamentally cut off from the rest of the universe. This is a convincing fiction, but a fiction nonetheless. You are not the constant, chattering voice in your head, the internal narrator that worries and judges. You can observe that voice, can't you? And that which observes cannot be the observed. The awake person realizes they are not the thoughts, but the awareness in which the thoughts arise. Look closely, where do you end and the world begin? When you breathe in, the air becomes you. When you breathe out, you become the air. The boundary is arbitrary, a convenient line we draw. To see through this boundary is to experience a tremendous relief. You realize you are not a stranger in the universe, you are an expression of the whole thing, just as a wave is an expression of the ocean. Unity, presence, and spontaneity. This realization of non-separation is what reveals unity. Not as a vague mystical idea, but as the literal fact that everything arises together. You can't have self without other, or up without down. Everything is an aspect of one cosmic movement, one single happening. Harming the world or others ceases to be a moral struggle and becomes simple intelligent self-interest, once you understand what yourself actually is. Furthermore, this intelligence isn't limited to your brain. Look at your body, your heart beats, your hair grows, and your food digests spontaneously, without your ego's conscious effort. The same vast intelligence that runs the cosmos is running you. The sense of a separate controller making all the decisions is another illusion. You know, there is something endlessly curious about what we call spiritual awakening. It isn't quite what people imagine. It's not a lightning strike of revelation, nor a sudden invitation into some secret world hidden behind the veil of ordinary perception. It's far more subtle than that, and far more immediate. People come and ask, what do awakened people see? What do they know that I don't? And I can't help but smile, because the very question betrays the misunderstanding from which all our seeking begins. The person who is awake doesn't see anything new. They haven't been granted access to a higher dimension or a mysterious knowledge reserved for saints and sages. What they see is what has always been there, what has been shimmering in plain sight all along, but which, somehow, we keep missing. They have not added something to their vision, they have subtracted what obscured it. They have peeled away the layers of mental noise, of commentary, of self-reference, until reality itself stands naked and luminous before them. It is not that the awakened person lives in another world, they simply live in this one, fully, directly, completely. Imagine, if you will, that you are looking at a tree. A simple act, something so ordinary that we do it without thinking. And perhaps that's exactly the problem, that we do it without thinking, yet not without thought. Because the moment your eyes land on the tree, the mind jumps in like an overeager tour guide. That's an oak, it says. We planted one like that in my grandmother's yard. Beautiful wood for furniture. Provides shade. Produces oxygen. The commentary begins, incessant, automatic, uninvited. But in that instant, you've stopped seeing the tree. You're no longer meeting reality as it is, you're meeting a concept of it. The living being before you has been replaced by a mental image, a summary, a word. And the tragedy is that we think we've understood something when, in truth, we've lost it entirely. We mistake the menu for the meal, the map for the territory. We think knowing the name of a thing means knowing the thing itself. But the awakened person, they see that same tree without all that mental clutter. They look, and in that looking, the whole miracle of existence unfolds. The bark isn't bark, it's a texture of light and shadow, the leaves aren't leaves, they are green miracles trembling in the wind, each one unique, each one dying even as it lives. They don't see a tree. They see this. This unspeakable, unrepeatable happening. And suddenly, that tree, that utterly ordinary tree, becomes the most marvelous thing in the universe. Not because it's changed, but because you have stopped filtering it through everything you think you know. The difference between the awakened and the asleep is not in the world they see, but in the way they see. Most people are not really living. They are dreaming with their eyes open, hypnotized by the constant hum of their own thoughts. Words, concepts, memories, judgments, they form a veil so thick that reality itself becomes a distant echo. You look at the world through this fog and think, this is life. But what you are looking at is merely a reflection of your own mental projections. It's like living your whole life looking at photographs of the ocean. You memorize their colors, analyze the shapes of the waves, even develop a fondness for the pictures. You think you know the sea. Then, one day, you go down to the shore. You feel the wind on your skin, hear the thunder of waves breaking, smell the salt in the air. The water rushes over your feet, cold, alive, relentless, and you realize, my God, this is nothing like the photographs. That's awakening. The difference between the photograph and the ocean. And the strange, almost comic truth is that every human being has tasted this before. For a moment. A flash. A second when thought falls silent and reality shines through. Maybe it happens while standing before a sunset, or hearing music that moves you to tears, or looking into the eyes of someone you love so deeply that time seems to stop. In that moment, the world is radiant. You are not thinking about it, you are it. The veil is gone. The commentary ceases. And there's just this. Pure being. Children live like this all the time. Watch a child exploring a puddle, chasing a butterfly, or staring at their own hands. They are not naming, judging, comparing. They are simply there. Wide-eyed, unfiltered, completely present. But we don't let them stay that way. We teach them to grow up. We teach them to think, to analyze, to compare, to plan, to worry. We teach them to live in their heads, in the past, in the future, anywhere but here. And slowly, the world becomes dull. The sacred fades into the ordinary. What was once alive becomes labeled, categorized, known. They forget how to see, and they join the rest of us in this collective sleepwalking, this trance of thought we call adulthood. The awakened one is simply a child who has remembered. At this point, people often say, but if I stop thinking, how will I live? Don't I need my mind to function? Of course. Thinking is a wonderful tool, but a terrible master. The awakened person doesn't destroy the mind, they see it for what it is, a servant, not the self. They can use it when needed and set it down when not. You see, the real problem is not thought itself, but our identification with thought. We mistake the voice in our head for who we are. That endless inner monologue, the one that says, I like this, I don't like that, I'm afraid of this, I hope for that, we take that to be me. But it isn't. You can watch that voice. You can observe thoughts as they arise and pass. So who is the watcher? The observer cannot be the observed. That awareness, silent, spacious, ungraspable, that's what you truly are. You are not the waves of thought that come and go, you are the ocean that holds them all. Most people have never truly met themselves because they are too busy listening to their own commentary. The awakened person has seen through the illusion. They know that what they call me, this bundle of memories, opinions, and stories, is not a solid thing at all, but a pattern, a process, a wave. And here lies one of the most baffling revelations of awakening, the sense of being a separate self, a lonely little ego trapped inside a bag of skin, is a magnificent fiction. Oh, it's a convincing one, no doubt. But look closely. Where do you end and the world begin? You breathe in, and the air becomes your blood. You breathe out, and your body dissolves into the wind. You eat, and what was once a fruit or an animal becomes your flesh. You are porous, fluid, continuous with everything around you. The boundary between self and other is a convention, drawn for convenience, not truth. Nature makes no such distinction. When you truly see this, not just as an idea but as a direct perception, everything changes. You realize you are not an alien in the cosmos, not a stranger wandering through an indifferent world. You are the world itself, looking, thinking, dreaming, through this temporary form called you. Just as a wave is not separate from the ocean but an expression of it, you are the universe expressing itself as this particular moment of consciousness. And in that realization, all fear of death, all loneliness, all striving to become something greater, all of it dissolves. Because you already are the whole thing. And when you understand this, another astonishing truth unfolds: the world is not a collection of separate things. It is a seamless, interwoven process. We have been taught to see the universe as a set of objects, each distinct, each independent, occasionally interacting by chance or design. But that is only a partial view, a convenient fiction for the purposes of survival and measurement. In reality, everything is bound together. The crests and troughs of a wave are not separate, they are aspects of the same movement. The leaf and the tree, the bird and the wind, the self and the other, they are not separate at all, but part of the same cosmic dance. This interconnectedness is not a poetic idea, it is a literal fact of existence. You cannot have up without down, life without death, inside without outside, self without other. They arise together, inseparable. The awakened person sees this plainly. They see that the separation we imagine is only a mental construct, a story we tell ourselves so we can navigate the world. And once you see this, once you truly feel it in your bones, it changes how you live. You cannot harm another without harming yourself, for the line between you and them dissolves. Compassion is no longer a moral obligation, it is an immediate, intelligent response to understanding your own nature. The awakened person also sees the extraordinary intelligence of the universe, the profound order that underlies every leaf, every star, every heartbeat. We have been taught that consciousness is rare, that intelligence is a product of brains, that the rest of nature is merely mechanical, unconscious. And yet, look closely at your own body, you did not instruct your heart to beat, your lungs to breathe, your cells to regenerate. You are being sustained by an intelligence far greater than your conscious mind. The same intelligence that turns caterpillars into butterflies, that grows grass from soil, that arranges the planets in perfect harmony, is the intelligence that flows through you right now. You are not the controller, you are the channel. You are the universe knowing itself from this angle, in this moment, as this body and this awareness. At first, this can feel terrifying. To relinquish the illusion of control is to confront the possibility that you are not the master of your own life. Yet the awakened person sees that control was always an illusion. The universe is not forcing them to act, they are not puppets on some cosmic string. Rather, they are the movement of the universe itself, spontaneously, naturally, effortlessly. Thought arises, action happens, life unfolds. There is no separation between the doer and the deed. In this recognition, all anxiety about making the right choice falls away. There is no error because there is no separation. There is only the unfolding of what is. And it is here, in this realization, that freedom emerges, not the freedom of ego, not the freedom to manipulate the world, but the freedom of being in harmony with it. Spontaneity, creativity, and joy flow naturally. One is no longer trapped by the endless striving of the mind, no longer at war with reality, no longer trying to possess or control the fleeting moment. Life becomes a dance, a play, a song in which you are fully immersed but no longer clinging to the notes. Time, too, is revealed as an illusion. The past and the future exist only in thought. They are mental constructs projected upon the ever-present now. The awakened person lives fully in this present, for it is the only place where life actually happens. The mind of the ordinary person constantly wanders, to regret, to worry, to fantasize, to plan. And while it wanders, life slips through their fingers. They are never where they are. But the awakened one knows that the present moment is sufficient, that it contains everything. Past and future are remembered or imagined here, in the present. There is nowhere else to be. And when the mind settles into this, when the noise of incessant thinking subsides, there is simply awareness, spacious, open, luminous. This awareness is not something you acquire. It has always been here. It is the foundation of your experience, the ground in which all phenomena arise. Thoughts, sensations, emotions, the entire world, it appears in awareness. And recognition of this awareness is the heart of awakening. It is ordinary and extraordinary at once. Simple and profound. The essence of reality is right here, always, waiting for us to notice it. When one rests as awareness, life changes. Problems do not vanish, but their grip loosens. Pain may still arise, yet suffering does not accumulate, because resistance has ended. Joy becomes more vivid, more immediate, because it is no longer tied to possession or fear of loss. One participates fully in the world, yet is not trapped by it. One may play a role, live a story, engage with life completely, and still remain aware that the role is transient, the story passing, the self fluid. One is fully alive, yet untouched by the compulsions of ego. The spiritually awake person sees reality directly, without the veil of concepts. They perceive the unity of all things, the intelligence that pervades nature, the absence of a separate self, and the sufficiency of the present moment. They see that life is not something to be mastered or controlled, but to be participated in, consciously, with awareness, with gratitude, with love. They rest in the openness that has always been there, and in that rest, freedom is found. And here lies the paradox: words can describe, can point, can illuminate the path, yet they cannot substitute for seeing. Everything I have said, every sentence, every image, every metaphor, is itself just a veil. The real understanding is not conceptual. It is experiential. It is you noticing what is, fully, directly, now. The real feast is not in the words, it is in the moment. It is in the tree, the breeze, the breath, the awareness in which all things arise. To awaken is not to acquire something new. It is to remember what has always been. It is to recognize that you are not separate, that the world is not outside, that time is not linear, that life is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. You are the awareness through which the universe experiences itself. You are the tree, the wave, the wind, the sun. You are the life in every particle, the silence in every sound, the presence in every moment. And if you allow yourself to see it, really see it, there is no going back. The world is no longer ordinary. Everything is miraculous. Every breath is a gift. Every glance, a revelation. Every heartbeat, a hymn. And in this awareness, you may discover what the awakened already know, that you are not looking at reality, reality is looking at itself, through these eyes, in this body, in this moment, and you are enough, just as you are. And then, as awareness deepens, something else begins to reveal itself, the playfulness of life. Most of us carry our existence like a weight, dragging it behind us, laden with expectations, ambitions, fears, and the relentless pressure to become something we are not. We take ourselves seriously, too seriously. We construct identities, attach to outcomes, and spend our days believing that survival, success, and control are the ultimate goals. But awakening shows a different rhythm. Life is not a battle. It is not a ladder to climb, nor a puzzle to solve, nor a performance to perfect. Life is a dance, a cosmic play, in which each moment is both actor and stage, both music and listener. The awakened person participates fully, but without clinging, without grasping, without insisting on permanence or certainty. They know the roles they play are temporary, the narratives passing. Yet within that understanding lies the deepest freedom, the ability to engage, to act, to love, to create, without the tyranny of ego's anxiety. The dissolution of the ego does not annihilate experience, it enriches it. Fear does not vanish, but its power diminishes. Desire does not disappear, but it is no longer enslaving. Joy does not depend on circumstance, because it arises spontaneously from the recognition that you are already complete, already whole, already one with the river of existence. Every moment becomes saturated with the miraculous, the sunlight on a leaf, the sound of laughter, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, ordinary things rendered extraordinary simply because they are seen without the filter of judgment. Awakening also reveals the subtle intelligence of the universe at work in all things. We have been taught to believe that consciousness is rare, and that all else is inert, mechanical, lifeless. Yet if you look deeply, this view collapses. How could intelligence arise spontaneously from what is entirely unconscious? How could life emerge from pure mechanism? The awakened person sees that consciousness is not a special byproduct of matter, it is fundamental. It is the ground, the matrix, the source from which all existence arises. Your body, your mind, your heart, your senses, all are expressions of this intelligence. You do not sustain yourself, you are sustained. You do not act independently, you are the universe acting in and as this particular form. And here is where the ordinary notion of control completely dissolves. The awakened person sees that their thoughts, plans, and efforts are not truly separate from the flow of life. You are not a master directing the world, you are the current, moving naturally, spontaneously, gracefully. There is a profound liberation in this recognition. Anxiety about doing it right falls away. Fear of failure ceases, because in truth, there is no separation between you and the unfolding of reality. You cannot make a mistake, because you are the movement of the universe manifesting in this form, in this moment. Even the notion of time begins to unravel. Past and future exist only as constructs of the mind. The past is memory, the future is anticipation, and both occur now, in the present moment. The awakened person lives entirely in this present, fully aware that it is the only place life ever actually happens. Most people are never truly present. They carry regrets from the past, anxieties about the future, plans, dreams, and endless stories. Meanwhile, life flows unnoticed, moment by moment. The awakened one, however, is fully here, inhaling, exhaling, seeing, listening, being. They do not cling to now, nor do they resist it, they simply participate. And in this participation lies a profound ecstasy, to be alive, fully alive, without the interference of constant judgment or striving. The ultimate revelation is that all of this, your thoughts, your perceptions, your experiences, the entire universe, arises within awareness. You are not a thing in the universe, you are the awareness in which the universe manifests. This is not an abstract concept, but a direct, lived experience. To rest in awareness is to rest in the reality that has always been, that has always seen, that has always known. And when you rest there, life is no longer heavy, no longer a burden, no longer a problem to be solved. Life becomes play, music, art, a cosmic unfolding in which you are simultaneously participant and witness, actor and stage, wave and ocean. Even suffering is transformed. Pain may arise, but it no longer accumulates as suffering. Resistance ends, complaint ceases, and the raw sensations of existence are met with presence and acceptance. Joy deepens, not because external conditions improve, but because the mind has stopped confusing happiness with ownership or permanence. Every moment is complete. Every moment is sufficient. Every moment is a miracle. And so, to awaken is not to escape life, nor to transcend it in some otherworldly sense. It is to enter life fully, to see it directly, to participate with clarity, presence, and intelligence. It is to rest as awareness, to recognize the illusory nature of the self, the interconnectedness of all things, the intelligence of the universe, and the sufficiency of this moment. It is to realize that the world has always been alive, radiant, miraculous, and that you are not apart from it, you are it, flowing through it, seeing it, expressing it. And here is the final paradox: all these words, all these descriptions, cannot awaken you. They can point, suggest, illuminate, but they cannot substitute for the experience itself. Awakening is not something to be read, thought, or understood intellectually. It is something to be seen, something to be lived, something to be recognized here and now. The tree is not a concept. The wave is not an idea. The air is not a theory. The moment is not a notion. They are real, immediate, vibrant, and awaiting your attention. If you stop, even for a second, and simply notice, you may discover what the awakened already know, that you are not looking at reality, reality is looking at itself, through these eyes, in this body, in this moment. You are not separate. You are not alone. You are not lost. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and this is enough. You are life witnessing life, awareness witnessing itself, the universe experiencing itself, and nothing more need be done. And then, in the fullness of awareness, the awakened one sees what most of us spend a lifetime missing, that life itself is a play, a dance, a song, and that every moment, no matter how ordinary, is sacred. We have been taught to look for significance in achievements, possessions, relationships, and future goals. Yet awakening shows that the miraculous has never been elsewhere, it is here, always, right in front of our eyes. The leaf trembling in the wind, the pattern of sunlight on the floor, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, each is a universe, complete and whole, if only we can see it. And the self that we have so fiercely defended, the ego that has demanded so much attention and energy, dissolves effortlessly when confronted with this awareness. It is not destroyed with force, it simply falls away when we stop identifying with it. The endless internal commentary, the judgment, the anxiety, the endless "I must" and "I should" loses its grip. The mind is no longer a prison warden but a servant, a tool that can be used when necessary and set aside when not. In this openness, life becomes fluid, spontaneous, and alive. The awakened person understands, deeply, that all things are impermanent. Pain will arise, joy will arise, moments will pass. And yet, these are not to be clung to, resisted, or feared. Each sensation, each thought, each encounter is a wave passing through the ocean of awareness. To grasp, to cling, to fight, is to suffer needlessly. To release, to rest, to see clearly, this is liberation. And liberation is not separate from participation. To be free is not to withdraw from life, but to engage with it fully, without attachment, without fear, without the illusion of separation. In this state, compassion arises naturally. To harm another is immediately recognized as harming oneself, because the line between self and other is seen for what it truly is, a construct, a convenient story, but not the ultimate truth. Love flows without condition, without calculation, without expectation, because the awakened one recognizes the essential unity of all things. To care is not a choice, it is a natural consequence of seeing clearly. And yet, even as the awakened person lives in this deep harmony, they do not claim ownership of life. They do not attempt to bend reality to their desires. They understand that the universe is not a machine to be controlled, but a mystery to be experienced. They flow with its rhythms, participate in its unfolding, and recognize that each moment is both sufficient and complete. There is nothing missing, nothing to fear, nothing to grasp. The ordinary becomes extraordinary simply because it is seen, without the veil of concepts or judgment.